Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be honoring Windows of its history, telling you why Windows came to life and the things it revolutionized, which ones were the worst and best Windows based on reviews and kind of my own opinion, and just its history in general. So, let's begin. Along with this, we will do a tier list. So, the first Windows we will be looking at is Windows 1.0. 1.0. Let's first look at the installation process. So, while I am doing this, I will explain the legacy, or the history basically, behind Windows 1.01. So, this isn't the actual, working thing, but, it's fine. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I have to basically make the directory here. Here we go. So this is Windows 1.0. Released again, like I said, November 20th, 1985. So, this is the operating system, the first ever Windows that Microsoft ever made. So, let's see what it can do. For 1985, this is actually looking pretty dang good, in my opinion. The calculator works, obviously. This entire operating system is basically offline because the internet basically didn't exist really yet. Calendar works. We can see do this. That's basically how calendar works. Do that. Do the other thing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm weird. No. This is basically good for all practical purposes back in the day, because, 40 years is a long time. Control panel. This existed back then, believe it or not. Another thing you can do, people overlook, you can look at your screen color if you want. Windows 1.0. For nowadays, this would definitely get a D or an F. But back then, most things used just a prompt or text on the screen. So this was brand new, out of this world. This is getting a B tier. Here we are. It said it wasn't ready. All I did was not do the thing with the auto exec, but that is besides the point. Let's see. So, MS-DOS, or what am I saying? Windows 2.x, it's or Windows //286//386. They have introduced a new thing, besides being prettier overall than 1.0, in my opinion. Entirely my opinion. All of this is my opinion, guys. If you have your own opinion, then, knock yourself out. But, let me shrink this. So, what can we do now? We can now overlap windows. This is a new thing that they have not even known to do. Now you can move windows. Now you can overlap windows. This made multitasking possible and so much easier. Before this in Windows 1.0, you could only do one thing at a time, or you could have two programs, one at the top and one at the bottom, but you could only use one at once. So this was a big step. And this is when Windows just started to get popular. So the numbers say that Windows 1.0 got a few tens of thousands of people, while this got like a few hundred thousands. So yeah. This was a bit of a step up, but we'd have to wait a little bit longer for it to actually get crazy here. Windows 2.0, we'll put it at, I'm gonna put it at C because it didn't really change much, but it did introduce some features. So I'm actually gonna put it at B as well. They're like together. Here we go. This is much, much better. Because now, you don't have a stupid list of programs. Instead, you have items, you have like, what do you call, like icons, which gives you like a perspective of what they might look like. You have more colors if it's more compatible with everything. But this is way better. I'm so happy. And they have more games too, like this addicting game I play all the time, Solitaire. But yeah, it's still built on DOS, but it's way better than DOS. And this is where it actually got popular. Let's see how many people used it. It sold around 10 million copies in the first few years. And by the 1990s, there was an estimated 15 million people using it. So yeah, Windows 3.0 gets an A tier for the things it has done to the world. Now we move on to Windows 3.1. To know as well. So now we're gonna try to get sound, and I know just how to do that. Well, that's our startup sound cue. So ta-da, you know. So now the icons have more colors, and you know, it looks prettier overall. These two should be fine. Yay, I won. We're left in a little bit of a gray area here because it's very good, but it's very similar to 3.0, so I'm putting it in A tier because all it really did was increase stability, add some new things and stuff. And the user base was not that much bigger. Now, we are going to look at an operating system that completely changed the world. Okay, here we are. So, Windows 95, quote unquote, changed the world because, dang it. It introduced the taskbar, introduced Wi-Fi built in, even though I can't enable it for me and it gives me errors. It makes, the desktop, you don't need to mess around with the program manager anymore. There's a My Computer, which makes navigating super easy, not like the registry editor anymore. Everything is so much better. That said, this version of Windows was pretty glitchy. Instead of plug and play, it was more like plug and pray, because they could never find it, like 99% of the time couldn't find the right driver. Well, Microsoft kind of aimed a little too far into the future. This operating system was basically trying to be ahead of its time, but that said, everything is so much better. Over 1 million copies in the first 4 days. The first year suggests around 40 to 50 million copies, and over time it usually got, they think it got almost 100 million people. This is going in S tier. There was nothing beating it from S tier. Like, what, like, in 1995, even today, this is a huge jump. Imagine what it would have been like from 1995. If you could tell me what it was like for you, I'd love to hear it. If you were, like, there. So here we go. So Windows NT 4.0 is like, it has better compatibility, and it can do more drivers. It's like, can support bigger hard disks, I suppose. Not based on crappy MS-DOS, but like, it's for businesses only, so I really don't know how to rank this. I mean, it has its ups and downs. I guess I'll put it in B tier, because like nobody used it except for work people at work. And even then, most used 95 or 3.1. So, yeah. Yeah, this deserves to go in B tier. Now we are moving on to Windows 98. That was loud. Ah! This is 16 color, I guess. So there's more things, I guess. Let's see if we can browse the internet. Yeah, no, never mind. It's really, it feels more glitchy than 95. There's a lot more stuff. And it was a little bit harder to install. I'll rate it A tier. How about that? Almost. So Windows 98 will go A tier. Windows 95 introduced a lot. This introduced some more, but it was like kind of weird. That's what I like to hear. So this is the best color I can get, which is 32-bit with my screen monitor resolution. So it feels like there's way less bloat. It feels just way better. The games are back. We have to play pinball. We just need to. Yeah, we don't have time. Let's look at Internet Explorer. So, yeah, I would just keep it at that. Windows 2000's pretty good for offline use, but like for online use nowadays, I can see why it was so good back then though. It has a lot of compatibility things you can do with it. So I'll put Windows 2000 in A tier as well. Actually, I'll B tier. It introduces a lot, but like A tier. I don't know. I'll just do A tier for now. Windows ME. Oh god, do I even really need to explain what this is? I can't even install it. No product key works. F tier. Windows XP is going in S tier. There is nothing, like Windows 95, there's nothing stopping it. Like, every new thing is beautiful, well placed, they introduce it perfectly, everything's good. So, as I was saying, Windows Vista nowadays can be very, like, you can use it with modern day computers, even though it ended support. But back then, when it released, it had a terrible launch because it was way too ahead of its time. Even though it took like 6 years, it was way too far ahead of its time. They planned for it to be like just a minor Windows release between Whistler, which would become XP, and Blackcomb, which would indirectly become 7. And Vista was called Longhorn, Project Longhorn, which would become Vista. But it was so messy, especially at launch, that once, they started actually like working, they introduced way too much. They got sidetracked. There was like 3 different teams working on it, each releasing different types of builds. It was so messy, and eventually they had to restart the entire project because it got so bloated, so confusing. And even then, when they made it into Vista with less bloat and stuff, it still was terrible. Computers were still supporting XP. They didn't have the requirements Vista needed, which was way more than XP. I don't even know the requirements compared to XP, but I think it's 20 gigabytes and stuff. And also drivers were terrible. Listen to that crappy sound driver, dude. But yeah, Vista had a terrible launch. And another big thing was user account control. Now this was terrible because it was basically supposed to, protect your PC and stuff. But it was so bad. It asked you everything, do you want to breathe? Do you want to open this? Do you want to start File Explorer? Do you want to like delete your file, like your useless file? Do you want to like do this, do that? Do you want to breathe? Do you want to live? Do you want to just exist? Like, it was so bad. So this is all my opinion. I just want you to remember that. So this gets a C tier. Now we are going to move on to Windows 7. Was a huge step up from Vista because it fixed UAC, it fixed the Vista's like hardware requirements, the slowness, everything. So yeah, it basically was Vista, but fixed. You get the idea. In 2009, this was a huge deal. Not like they couldn't walk into stores and stuff at 12 a.m. like 95, but they just they literally waited. They downloaded the beta. There was it was only supposed to get like maybe a few million downloads. It got like 10 million not 10, but like 5, way more than it was they wanted to, because of how popular Windows 7 was. And some people even used it as their main operating system, bridging the gap to the full release of 7. So, you can understand how people loved Windows 7 before it was even officially released. That's a terrible resolution. So, Windows 7 had an amazing launch and an amazing life, but it wasn't entirely original, and it didn't really introduce that much over Vista. Besides, it was pretty good. I had a few more games. I'll rate it A tier. How about that? Oh god. Oh god, no. Oh, alrighty. Let's start. So, this is Windows 8. There's no doubt about it. Everyone hated this, obviously. This is barely Windows. And the worst part is there's no start button. You'd have to use your Windows key. And also, it relied so much on internet stuff. So, the servers went down. If the servers went down, which, at least 60% of them did, then, yeah. Nothing works. Not the store, not Internet Explorer, not Maps, none of these work because the servers went down. That's a problem with relying on services. And just, who likes this unless you're on a tablet or something? Or a touchscreen laptop. No one would find this appealing. It's more just like Windows. When you think about Windows, it's more desktop environment, desktop friendly, like 7 or something. And then when this happened, it is terrible. So D tier, our first D tier, and it deserves it. So now 8.1. Oh, it's done. I was playing on my iPhone 5. Um, so, this is Windows 8.1. So, um, it's pretty much exactly like Windows 8, but obviously a different background. But now they have the start button. It looks kind of ugly, and this basically looks the same with maybe a few more options. Um, it's basically a better version of 8 in my opinion. I could use this with some tweaks. So yeah. It's it's kind of better in a way, and it was more supported, but I'd still not recommend it. This deserves to go at most right here. Okay, so it's done. Finally, that took a billion years. No, and go away. So it's very clunky and slow. I can tell. But Windows 10 at its release was pretty bad because most things were like not really working well and everything was slow. But by 22H2, unless you had bad system requirements like I have on my virtual machine, it was good. But it took a while for Microsoft to iron out all the mistakes. So people kind of forgot that Windows 10 was bad. Also, people need to remember that it's support in 2 weeks. 2 weeks to end support, so you really have to remember that. Sorry, it's 4 a.m. I'm exhausted. Windows 10 goes in A tier. This is going in the hell tier.